How much do you know about Ghana's political history? Do you know why Ghana is rich in natural resources than many European nations, but the nation remains one of the low-income countries? In Ghana, the politicians and their families live in affluence and luxury while the majority struggle to feed themselves. Some people blame the problem on the entire citizens, but I think every nation rises and falls on leadership. No matter how bad the citizens are, good, selfless and visionary leaders can influence virtue and prosperity. Explore with me and do not forget to like and subscribe for more informative videos on Ghana. In 1957, a new nation was born on the African continent, Ghana. The previous name, Gold Coast, was seeded due to the notion that the name originated from the colonialists. Ghana became the beacon of hope for Africa's independence. It was the first sub-Saharan African state to become independent. Ghana is rich in so many natural and human resources, thus, all it needed was selfless leadership. The country was blessed with an illustrious and visionary first leader, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Nkrumah saw Ghana's development tied to industries. Thus he developed a comprehensive framework of industrialization that was well structured to make Ghana self-sufficient and prosperous. However, he had a dream of becoming a ruler of a united Africa. To achieve this, he had to use Ghana's resources to support Africans who were fighting for independence, which some people criticized to their own detriment. Unfortunately, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah soon began to shed the blood of the citizens, and our prisons became centers of torture, a place of maiming those that dissent. Nkrumah leadership provided Ghana with a good economic foundation framework. The farming, industrial and educational structures were well coordinated. Thus, Nkrumah left a strong educational and industrial legacy before being overthrown through a coup led by Lieutenant General Emmanuel Kwasi Katoka, General Ankara and Major Akwasi Amenkwa Afrifa. The main drawbacks of the Nkrumah administration were dictatorship and ruthless crackdown on opposing views. He was autocratic and used his majority in parliament to make repressive laws. The CPP even made Ghana a one-party state and bestowed on Nkrumah the power to arrest and incarcerate people extrajudicially whenever he pleases. Thus, he wanted to immortalize the CPP and serve as a president for life. He was brutal on dissent, and his political prisoners often did not survive his prison, though he was comfortable in the prison of the colonial masters prior to becoming a leader. Due to his dictatorship, the country rocked with jubilation when Nkrumah was overthrown in 1966. His plans and achievements became useless to oppressed people. Emmanuel Kwasi Katoka, after the coup February 24, 1966, became the chairman of the National Liberation Council, NLC, which was the military government that ruled Ghana from 1966 to 1969. General Ankara was the head of state. Katoka held the position of general officer commanding the Ghana Armed Forces, which made him the commander-in-chief of the military. During this period, Katoka played a significant role in shaping Ghana's foreign policy, and the country forged good relations with the United States and other Western countries. Katoka died in an unsuccessful counter-coup attempt at a location which is now the forecourt of the airport on April 17, 1967. The Reconnaissance Regiment of the Ghana Army, stationed at Ho in the Volta region, made an attempt to overthrow the NLC government under Operation Guitar Boy. Lieutenant Yeboah and his troops were able to break through the defenses of the Army headquarters at Flagstaff House and captured Lt. Gen. Katoka. Lieutenant Yeboah is reported to have killed Katoka by stabbing and shooting him to death. Many people wonder why such crucial an international travel hub is named after a coupist, but it was in recognition of Katoka's contributions to the country diplomatic milestone and as a distinguished statesman. Besides, the overthrow of Nkrumah saved many lives, such as Ako Ajay, who was incarcerated on mere suspicion. Thus, in 1969, the government renamed the Accra International Airport, Katoka International Airport, in his honor. His statue stood situated in the airport's forecourt at that very spot of his death, but it was removed to accommodate the expansion works. In April 2, 1969, the head of state, General Joseph Arthur Ankara, seen as the mastermind of the coup, resigned due to bribery allegation against him. Lieutenant General Akwasi Afrifa became the head of state. He organized elections and handed power to civilian leaders on October 1, 1969, though he held the presidency before handing over to Akufo-Addo. There was an attempt to prevent the recurrence of civilian dictatorship, thus the nation attempted parliamentary democracy. The authority was passed on to Prime Minister Kofi Abrefa-Bija and Edward Akufo-Addo as ceremonial president under the Second Republic. Dr. Kofi Abrefa-Bija, October 1, 1969 to January 13, 1972, Member of Parliament for Wenchi, enjoyed a lot of goodwill both home and abroad, and the people expected a lot from his leadership. The Bija administration focused on the rule of law, and there were efforts to strengthening of Ghana legal system. The administration laid foundation for universal education, placing emphasis on girl-child education. The short tenure is credited with rural development policy that saw the provision of water, electricity, and health facilities for many rural communities. The setback of the Bija administration were 1. Mass retrenchment of public servants, often known as Apollo 568. 2. Attack on the judiciary. 3. Devaluation of the Cedi to the Dola by 43.8% and the consequent economic hardship. 3. Attack on the press and manipulation of national institution to favor the government. 4. Brutalities and fatalities as a result of the Aliens Compliance Order of 1969. 5. Attack on the workers' union and impoverishment of workers' conditions. 6. Corruption and what was seen as opulent lifestyles by members of government in the face of economic hardships. The Bija government committed a colossal damage to Ghana's economy. The damage was greater than all the harm by the military government put together. Colonel Ignatius Kudu Achempong overthrew the Progress Party on January 13, 1972, when the government reduced the budget of the military. The Ghanaian economy was in shambles, and there were several industrial actions and agitations. In July 1978, Lieutenant General F.W.K. Akufo removed Achempong through a palace coup. The following year in June, both were executed by junior military officers led by Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, who overthrew the regime of Fred Akufo in a bloody coup. He, however, returned the country to constitutional rule and handed power to elected president in September 1979. Dr. Hilla Limann was elected president of the Third Republic on the ticket of the People's National Party, PNP, in 1979. He had the challenging task of reforming and transforming Ghana after years of rot and indiscipline occasioned by military dictatorship from 1972 to 1979. Dr. Limann is credited as the only head of state who did not enrich himself and his family members through corruption. As president, his administration made a giant stride in terms of developmental projects ranging from energy, agriculture, transportation, rural development, corporate governance, and foreign policy, among others. Dr. Limann raised funds to complete and inaugurate the Kapong Dam and was on the course of completing the Bui Dam after it had been abandoned following the overthrow of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. His administration also introduced the irrigation systems in northern region, which led to bumper harvest of rice to support the economy. The problem with Dr. Limann's administration was lapses in security issues. After the handover ceremony in 1979, military intelligence personnel consistently reported destabilizing activities of former members of the AFRC to the presidency and the need to curb it. Dr. Limann, however, insisted that there were no legal justifications to intervene under a democratic dispensation. Jerry Rawlings overthrew the Limann administration in a coup on 31 December 1981. And after ruling for over a decade, returned the country to democratic rule. The return to power of Jerry Rawlings was marked by abductions and secret killings of